wanted to do a video about recovery, about injuries again. We say if my information is So, welcome to Jazzy Friday in Berlin. We wanted to do a video about recovery, about injuries again. This on the request from one of our members here at the box with a bad elbow, and also to Amanda back in Stockholm. So let's go into the gym. Okay, so what people usually do when they have an injury or so on is that they want to ice it and so on, and let's go through a very standard protocol. It's called the RISE protocol. If we take that away, so we rest, we ice, we compression, and we elevate. And people are doing this, but the question is if they understand what they're doing. So we want to explain to people what we want to do with this. First of all, you have to see if it's inflammation going on in your joint or in your muscle. If you have inflammation, usually you will get to know if it's inflammation by a physician, but always if it's inflamed, we have to rest, and we have to understand how the body works with that inflammation. We ice takes down the pain, and we also can decrease the swollenness in that area. After that, we want to compress, keep the swollen things going, the water from going into the joint or the muscle, and we also use the elevation to make it a bit harder for fluid to get there. Now, let's go into the granular things here. With the rest, this simply means you should not go out and do a marathon, but still, you should use this rest to actually have some movements going on. And the key behind this is we want this area that is damaged in some way to have as much fresh blood as possible, nutrients coming there, all the protein, all the acids coming to those areas, get as much blood flow going on all the time, and obviously move within a range that is possible. If it's very bad, yeah, it's very hard. You might not be able to move that much. We're going to get to there later on. And same thing when we look at the ice. People tend to like to ice everything for the entire day. They put it under a bag of ice and then they try to sleep with it or so on. That's very awkward, by the way. But what we want to do is we want to use the ice to create blood flow and also to desensitize a bit, so we can create some movement maybe, but we don't want to overdo it, because by icing it, we're actually stagnating. We're making everything to close down, fall asleep, you might say. And so the icing can actually make the recovery take a longer time if you're not aware of what you're doing. Same thing with the compression. If you start to compress, you put a compression sock on or anything, the blood flows gets restricted, it stagnates, everything starts to stiffen. We all know this feeling from when we wake up in the morning, everything's stiff, and we try to spread ourselves, and the longer we stay in one position, everything starts to stiffen up even more, and we want to mitigate that. But we want to use the compression to, again, create movement and see what can we do under compression. Can we create some movement, some nice gentle movement to get some more blood flow in there. Last thing, the elevation is also very good as a first stage, but same thing here. Work with elevation, where go up, go down with the leg, create movement, try to get out the swollenness through compression with maybe some ice and maybe with some movement. But always respect your body. If it hurts because of a reason, so be gentle. Now let's talk about also some things that we can do. Particularly, we can take one of our members now. She has a tennis elbow on her right arm. It's very bad because you can't do that much. But there are some things she might be able to do to work on her shoulder mobility, and that will probably make her elbow a bit better. So just one small tip: have a lacrosse ball or something, and we're going to go to the floor. So one thing you can do, it's very good to have a black ball for a black floor. Depending on how painful the elbow is and so on, respect that pain, but you can put the ball on the back, other side of the shoulder, and we simply try here to work on the internal rotation, which usually is very limited. If you look at my internal rotation here, I have like a bunch missing, and I'm not unique. This is a very standard problem for most people. Tennis players and so on get this. Architects working in an office 12 hours a day get this. But just work with this. Work against yourself, push against your own hand, have the ball on the other side. Try to work in your range of motion. Give some extra range with putting some pressure. And you will start to see some progression. You can work against yourself, and if you have like a very good friend, he could actually help you, and you could work together with some resistance. And the more you clean that up, the more the shoulder is going to be able to get back in its right position, and that's going to get some of the pressure off the elbow. Something you can do with the bad elbow, but also like for Amanda, you can work at some blood flow restriction therapy, which I birthed with foot. And there we like to use the voodoo band. Now, depending on how bad the inflammation is and pain is, there are some different things you can work with. You can work with this voodoo band on the spot where you have the inflammation or the swollenness, if you feel like you can take it. If it hurts too much, then it hurts too much, don't do it. So let's take a look at doing this on your foot. So when you do it, a good tip is to start from below and try to squeeze it out. So we say if my inflammation is mostly on the top of my foot, I also want to create extra pressure. So I create tension here at the top, and I try to squeeze it out. Always on that side where I want to put extra pressure. So on this side it's a bit more slack. Up here it's a bit more pressure. And then we go on the other side here also, and we try to just squeeze that out. And depending on how bad it is, maybe that's enough. Try to do that for a couple of minutes, just hold it for a couple of minutes. And if that's enough, then it's enough, then take it off. If there is possibility for some movement, then try to start to move the ankle a bit, move the leg, see if you can create some movement. And after that, let the blood flow in again. and voila. If it's a really bad foot, meaning it's swollen like hell, as if you dropped 100K on your foot or so, then we can start to look at also upstream, because the foot is connected with our shin, and shin is connected with our leg. It's amazing. So we can actually do the same thing upstream. We can work upstream. Same thing if you have a bad elbow, we can work upstream. We can work on our arm, we can work on our shoulder. In this case, we can work upstream from our ankle. So I would say, let's look at our thigh and create some blood flow restriction up here. You can do it up here or down here. Try to find a spot that you like and make it super, super, super tight. And yeah, like those. You're gonna feel when it's tight enough. And since it's very hard to put any load on a foot that is very traumatized, you can still lay on your back and you can try to create some movement with that leg. And I recommend to try to do like 30 to 40 repetitions, and then take a break, breathe a bit, and then go again, do 15. And take a break, and then you do 15 again, and then you can let the blood go. And this will rush blood not only here, but also down into your feet. And that might also help out with the recovery. I feel it now actually in my toes. Blood is coming out of my toes, so it's a very good technique. Okay, see you next time. Good luck.